Welcome everyone to our latest presentation here on Assistive Touch. This presentation was done by Jared Mays of OneCourt as he goes over the device and what you can expect with the product. Thank you so much for watching.
Today we have OneCourt, which is a company that's producing a very exciting development in haptic feedback for sports. So without further ado, let me introduce Bree Fraser and Jared Mace from OneCourt.
Yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate that introduction. I feel like you're doing our job for us there. So we're excited to share more about our work, and yeah, hopefully we'll connect when we're in Boston. So I'll start us off, but my name is Jared Mace. I'm the CEO at OneCourt, and we're working to make live sports more accessible to the 250 million people worldwide with visual disabilities. You know, some people may have usable vision, some people may be completely blind, and we're really excited to offer a really immersive tactile experience to the game. The image on this screen actually is our device. We've developed this laptop sized, we call it a haptic display, and it's sitting on someone's lap and they're at a sporting event. So this is actually at a baseball stadium. Is at the T-Mobile Park here in Seattle, and someone is placing their hands flat on the surface and feeling the vibrations that correspond to what's happening on the field. So we'll get into all that and more. Yeah, so joining you today, we have a small part of our awesome team. A lot of us are recent or even current students at the University of Washington. That's where we all met and formed our team. As I mentioned, my name Jared. My background is in industrial design, so I work a lot on building the physical product. And then of course, as CEO, I'm working quite a bit on fundraising, so I kind of wear both of those hats. But Bree.
Yeah, hi everyone. It's an honor to be here. I remember connecting with Jerry and David months ago, and so it's been really fun to work our way up to joining you today. In the OneCourt world, I really get to work directly with community organizations like the Massachusetts Association for the Blind, and other organizations across the country and beyond. My work really revolves around gathering feedback from fans on the experience and bringing it back to Jared and other members of the team that are building the device so that we continue to improve and make it better each time. And also think about how we can not only bring this device as an experience in venue, but eventually at home as well, which we'll get more into as we chat this morning.
So we'll start with how OneCourt got started. And it was really through this video of tactile signing in the world of sports. So back in 2021, I saw a video of a blind person at a soccer match with a woman who was watching the game below and at the same time tactile signing the game in reference to a game board. So she was moving his hands across it was basically I couldn't tell if it was a piece of cardboard or it was this, handmade tactile graphic. And that was, I think, a very inspiring introduction to the world of tactile signing for me. So I grew up with some visual challenges, and many of which have been corrected through surgery. But I think that kind of gave me the heart for this work, and I was inspired by that video to see if we could bring that experience to everyone using design and technology. So the big question I think, we get the most is how does this actually work? You're sitting in a stadium and you're able to feel exactly what's going on down on the field as it's happening. Like, it's a pretty unique experience. So it all starts with this foundational data. So it starts with data that's being collected by the teams and leagues. They're using cameras and sensors, chips in the balls, different methods to basically track everything. So they know where the ball is, they know where the players are, and we're able to access that data in near real time and then translate it into a spatial haptic experience. So I think that's another important area to talk about. It's like, what is the experience actually like? You know, many are accustomed to their phone vibrating, for example. But the difference is when your phone vibrates, the entire thing vibrates. But when our haptic display is on, it's vibrating in a specific area. So you're feeling a vibration essentially move around on the surface of our device. So we really think of ourselves as the world's first tactile broadcast, because this isn't just something for in stadiums or in arenas, right? This is something we view that can support sports watching experiences across environments. You know, many people are able to watch sports at home, or soon to be. You know, we're not quite there yet. We're very focused on in stadium, but we're really excited to be offering this in a variety of those environments. We've started with the Portland Trailblazers, as Bree will mention later. But this photograph actually, this slide actually features several photographs from our work with the Portland Trailblazers. They have 5 devices that they keep in their stadium, and fans are able to just check them out through guest services for no extra charge. So fans that buy a ticket to the game deserve to access the game, and we're really excited to be partnering with them to make these available. I'll talk now a little bit more about what's actually on the surface of the device. You know, it's not just like a blank screen. So the top surface, we call it an interface. It actually features the tactile graphic of whatever court or field you're watching. So if you're a baseball fan and you're at a baseball game, you've got a tactile graphic of the baseball diamond as well as the strike zone, which is one of our favorite features. So in the case of basketball, you've got the 2-dimensional top-down view of the basketball court with the 3-point arc, the hoops, all of those details that are really important to following a game. And then, of course, you're feeling where the ball is as it's moving across the field. So you'd feel it as Steph Curry approaches the 3-point line, he releases a shot, and you're also listening to the audio at the same time that's helping to cue in and fill those gaps. You know, we don't view OneCourt as a solution that's independent of audio. They really work together. You know, I describe it as in the same way that sighted fans are watching and listening to a game. You know, many of our fans tell us that it's just like that. It's like watching, in this case, feeling as well as listening to the action. So whenever we can, we pair it with low latency radio. But I'm sure, as many folks know, not every stadium has that real-time radio feed. So what we've done is actually created a data-generated audio feed. It's very short form, but it's meant to give that real-time context. So people aren't reacting after the fact, but are rather immersed in the action with everybody else.
Awesome. And before we jump into the video and audio clip we have about fans, could you describe what the vibrations feel underneath someone's fingertips?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, the main, I think, unique difference compared to a vibration you're used to on your phone is that localization piece, right? Like, it's a very unique experience to track a vibration that feels like it's moving. Now, of course, nothing is actually moving. It functions very much like a visual screen, but instead of pixels that people see, these are pixels that you feel. And we play with the intensity, the duration, the size of those vibrations to help communicate different events. So like a dunk in basketball feels way more intense than like a swish, for example, from the 3-point line.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we had this video that we captured a few years ago at a Super Bowl party. So this was actually an example where we weren't in stadium. We were in an apartment lounge and we were watching the Super Bowl together. We powered up the OneCourt devices, and this video features fans describing that experience.
Usually when I'm at these kind of parties, I can't hear anything and I have to always be asking or, rely on the super fan to be constantly yelling across the room, right?
I was hearing the game like I usually do, but then when I got to use your guys' thing, I got to like actually imagine and like, because I could feel the vibration, feel like the ball moving. I could imagine it in my head, and then that was so cool because I finally understand why my dad was getting so excited. Because when I felt a touchdown, I was like, oh my god! I was like, whoa! I just reacted like my dad.
That was a wild experience for me because I always knew where the ball was, and that's incredible. It's basically being able to see, but through a different sense, right? So I don't have to rely on somebody telling me what's going on. I can just feel it, right? For myself. It's fantastic.
Of course, we talk to so many fans, and some of the really common experiences that we hear about today are through audio channels, right? Like many people are relying on the radio or friends and family to offer that description of the game. And I think you caught on, and everyone has shared this with us, right? Like one of the big pain points is that delay, especially in stadiums, right? And there's just an inherent delay sometimes as well. Like it's difficult to describe a fast-paced moving object and where it's located on a field. I mean, it's a challenging description. And I think through this tactile method, it's very intuitive to understand and enjoy those details. It's requires sort of no explanation at all. And of course, I think, yeah, that we just hear a variety of experiences, but you know, many fans have said, "Oh, I'm reacting after the fact," and I think that speaks to the magic of OneCourt's real-time data. Is that that's no longer the case, right? It's no longer I'm hearing everyone react and then I'm waiting to get caught up. It's no, I'm immersed in the action. I'm reacting alongside everybody, and I felt it at the same time that someone saw it. So I think that's one of my favorite aspects of the technology in stadiums. Yeah. One other exciting thing to mention is that it's not like OneCourt is limited to a single sport, right? The device is very versatile. I kind of think of it like a TV, and that it can communicate lots of different types of content. And all we have to do is basically switch out the top surface to unlock a different sport. So of course, if you're watching football, you want a tactile representation of the football field and the touch and the end zones and the field goal posts, right? Like those are all details that are important there, but are not important for tennis. So you want a different interface, but we simply swap those out. Some of the sports we've worked on, we're working on basketball, baseball, tennis, soccer, football. We haven't started rugby or hockey yet, but we'll certainly get there. And we're really excited to continue expanding to more sports, but we're also trying to stay focused and really build out these experiences. Our main focus has been basketball and baseball, but I'll hand it off to Bree and she'll tell us more.
Wonderful. Thanks, Jared. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how the device has changed over time. So initially, when we created the product, this was back in 2021, 2022, when Jared started working on OneCourt. It was a pretty simple device. It just had a few motors, and it was showing at a very high level the movement of the ball tracking from one side of the court to the other. And since then, we've been able to build a product that has a number of different features. So some of the features that we wanted to highlight in this current version that's currently at some NBA stadiums is the interaction piece. So not only are you able to feel the vibrations and feel where the ball is and the activity on the device, but you can also engage with it through buttons. So we have a non-visual navigation menu. So there's buttons on the top left corner of the device to go up, down, left, right in a main menu to toggle through different options. And that gives the fan the opportunity to go through some tutorials. So let's say this is your first time actually feeling a basketball court. Say you've listened to it and heard it described, but you're feeling the end lines, you're feeling the hoops and the 3-point line for the first time, we have a tutorial that will walk through fans what that court feels like. So when we talk about the center line will vibrate on the surface of the device. And then when we talk about the hoops at either end of the court that the teams are moving towards to score a basket, those hoops will vibrate. And so that's been a really fun way to not only welcome more fans into the community that may not be as familiar with the sport, but also for those big diehard sports fans, they can feel that court light up underneath their fingers before the game begins to really start to conceptualize how big that court is and where those players are going to be moving. So that first piece that we've been improving is interaction. The second one is versatility. So as Jared mentioned, we know that fans want to enjoy not just one sport, but many. They may have a favorite. Some of you on this call might have your favorite Massachusetts or Boston sports teams, but maybe you want to feel multiple sports on the surface of the device. So you can swap out that interface. You can feel different courts and different parks on the top of the device. And also, as we've grown as a company and changed the device, the number of motors that are underneath the surface has changed. So I think, Jared, correct me if I'm wrong, we started with 6 motors, one line of 6 motors in the first version of the device. And now we have over 200 little motors underneath, which really increases the resolution of the experience. So you think about a TV screen, however big the TV screen is, that's the increase in resolution of that experience. So for us, as we increase the number of motors, we're increasing the level of detail that fans can feel in the game. So talking about those different vibrations, signaling a 2-point shot or a 3-point shot in basketball, we can show those details. And then the last piece is portability. This version of the device is thinner, so it's just under 2 inches tall. It's about 2 to 2.5 pounds, so it's a little bit lighter weight than other versions, which makes it a bit easier for fans to carry it in the venue or carry it around at home, or bring it around with them. So we've talked a good amount about the device and some of those challenges that it's addressing when fans are in venue. But I want to talk about some of the traction that we've had so far, which has been really exciting. So in 2024, we made some pretty major progress across the different leagues and teams here in the US. We've been able to work directly with the NBA for basketball and the MLB for baseball to get access to their data. So what Jared was mentioning, those data feeds of what's happening in the game. And so when we have access to that data, that really allows us to bring the game to life in those leagues. So we initially started with the Portland Trail Blazers, the basketball team, and we did a pilot with them last April. And so during this pilot, we brought in students from the Washington State School for the Blind, and also another organization local to us, the Northwest Association for Blind Athletes. And so fans came in and experienced One Court for the first time in a live venue, which was a great opportunity for us to check in with fans to say, is this experience, is the One Court experience really increasing your enjoyment at the game, your comprehension of the game, and your independence at the game to be able to interpret the game for yourself? And across all 3 areas, it was a resounding yes. So that was really exciting for us. And so once that pilot went really well last April, we started to move into full season implementation. So with the Portland Trail Blazers, and just recently launched this week with the Sacramento Kings basketball team, we now have devices living at those arenas. So when we say living, those devices, they stay at guest services, and a fan can purchase their game ticket and check out a device from guest services, very similar to an assisted listening device or other radios or other offerings from the venue, bring it to their seat, and all you have to do is plug in the headphones and start feeling the game, which is really exciting. And so it's been fun to hear feedback from fans both in Portland and in Sacramento on what that in-venue experience is like. A lot of people say it's a game changer. And it allows them to feel like part of the game, being able to cheer at the exact same time as everyone else to feel that game for themselves. So that's been our traction with basketball. And then when it comes to baseball, we actually worked with the MLB during All-Star Week this summer. So that was our first time bringing devices to a baseball game. We partnered with T-Mobile to make that happen. We had fans from across Texas join us in Arlington, which was really fun. And as Jared mentioned, the baseball experience is actually the only sport where we can show both where the players are and where the ball is at the same time. So in a fan's left hand, they'll feel the baseball diamond. So you can feel where that pitch is coming in to the batter, and then where the ball travels into the infield or the outfield. So you're tracking that location of the ball, but at the same time, you're actually tracking the players moving from the bases and running from first base to second base to third base. So you can feel that excitement of are they getting closer to home plate? So that's in the left hand. And then in someone's right hand, they're actually feeling the strike zone. So in between those plays in the field, you're feeling where that pitch is coming in relation to the batter. So is it going to be a ball? Is it going to be a strike? And you're getting that information at the same time as the umpire. So you can actually start to make your own calls on whether that was a ball or a strike, and start to interpret that game for yourself. So that's a little bit about our work with basketball and baseball. We collaborated with blind influencer Anthony Ferraro. He's a skateboard Paralympian, and he has his channel called ASF Vision. So we did a collaboration with him online, which reached 19.5 million people, the video that he put together for MLB All-Star Week. So that was really exciting and helped us spread our word across the community online. And then in terms of us turning this idea into an actual business, we've had a lot of support from the community to make it happen. So early on in the team's progress, we received a grant from Microsoft. It was the AI for Accessibility grant. And so that allowed the team to move from student project to working on this full-time as a business. The One Court team also received the CES Accessibility Contest Award, which was granted to us last year in 2024. And then last year at the MIT Sloan Sports Analytics Conference, which is hosted in Boston every year, we were their startup competition winner, which has allowed us to come back this year, as David mentioned, coming to Boston again next week, where a huge focus of that sports analytics conference will be accessibility in sports. And on this screen here, we have a graphic on the left side that shows a short segment of a commercial that we did with T-Mobile and MLB during All-Star Week. And so this was their magenta moment during All-Star Week. And so that was featured on air. It's a short clip of a fan moving their hands across the device to feel the batters running from base to base, and then fans cheering in the stands. So there's two ways that we envision fans using One Court. The first way is what we've been talking a lot about, which is that in-stadium experience. So this involves a fan picking it up from guest services, enjoying it during a live game, and then giving it back to guest services at the end of the game. So it's really just in venue. And we've chosen this as a first way to bring the device to fans because it allows us to have 5 devices at one arena or ballpark or venue, and many, many fans can experience it. So every night we have different fans in Portland and Sacramento trying the device, giving us their feedback, and feeling it without needing to scale the actual hardware or technology. So needing to build too many of these devices, especially as we continue to change things and adapt them and improve it. But eventually, a big focus of ours is being able to offer this at home. We know that a lot of fans enjoy sports from the comfort of their sofa, and may listen on the radio or listen to the TV broadcast almost every day. And so we also want to be able to offer this option to feel the game at home. And so This would allow fans to broadcast different sports and own a device themselves. So there would be an upfront cost for the device itself, and then something like a subscription model where you'd pay for access to all the MLB games or all of the NBA games in a season and then stream those at home. So collaborating with organizations like the Massachusetts Association for the Blind and other organizations across the US has been really pivotal to our success. It's been a fantastic way to connect with community members like yourselves directly, learn more about current experiences with live sports. So what are the biggest challenges? And also building a sport community and a fan base to attend these live activations. And so it's been a huge opportunity for us to spread awareness about our work, and eventually plan in-person opportunities to try the device. So we've attended a number of community events to demo the One Court device, all the way from grassroots White Cane Day events, all the way up to large conventions like the NFB National Convention that happened in July. And our team, Jared and I, actually attended that to be able to do demos for community members. And then as people join our community, they join our wait list or our newsletter. We invite fans to join us for live activations to be able to experience it at a live game or demo it in more of a community setting like watch parties. So fans can experience the device outside of the stadium as well. And so the clip on the screen that we have here is a number of students from the Washington State School for the Blind that joined us at a basketball game in Portland. The students were ages 8 up to 18, so it was a good range of students. And within the first few points of the basketball game, they were absolutely loving the device and being able to track where the ball was during that game. So much so that they didn't want to share the devices with their classmates and said, "No, I want to keep using it. Do I have to give it to someone else?" And that was a really rewarding experience to hear. Not only did they like it, but they liked it so much they wanted to keep it for the whole game. So this is a little bit of our timeline of where we're headed in the future. So if we place ourselves right now in 2025, we're really focused on the in-venue entry. So being in as many ballparks, as many basketball arenas or football stadiums as possible. Ultimately, we believe that this should be a game day accommodation that every team adopts. And so we want to be in every place where live sports is happening. And then we're building up our at-home wait list. So we want to hear from fans who wants this in their home. And as we start to figure out pricing, like what is an affordable price to be able to pay for a device at home? What are people able to pay and willing to pay so that we can really price it at an affordable price point? And then as we move into 2026, we talk about in-venue expansion, so being across the US and maybe even abroad. I grew up in Canada, and so hockey is a big sport up north of the border. And so being able to expand into other sports and expand internationally. And then the at-home launch. So we're going to start launching devices for the at-home experience. We're going to have fans start to test it in their homes, and then eventually have the option for fans to buy it and use it day to day in their own home. And then beyond there, we're excited about expanding more globally. And also expanding potentially to new products. Something that Jared's been really excited about, and you can probably speak to more, Jared, is the application for gaming. Right now we're using haptics to describe sports, but what other opportunities are there to use touch to describe other parts of entertainment and fun? Another application that I've been really excited about is coaching and education. I've had a lot of TVIs, teachers for the visually impaired, connect with me and say, using One Court would be a fantastic learning tool to be able to describe spatial things to students and community members, rather than through description, but through feel and through touch, especially in the sports coaching perspective as well. So that's something I'm really excited
For more information, contact Jerry Feliz, Access Technology Director, phone number 857-443-6636, email jfeliz@mapcommunity.org. Thank you so much for watching.